Okay, so you're swimming in this sea of information, right? How do you possibly cut through all that noise to figure out what actually makes the media tick these days? What if you had like a secret map, something to help navigate this crazy shifting media world? Not just watch it, but actively connect within it. Well, welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're digging into something pretty essential. Our main source is the Cision 2025 State of the Media Report. And this isn't just some random paper. No, it's a huge global survey. They talked to over 3,000 journalists. So it gives us this amazing inside look at how they work, what keeps them up at night, and crucially, what they really want from PR folks like us.
Yeah, our mission today is pretty straightforward. Pull out the absolute must-know insights from this massive report. Give you a shortcut, really, to being genuinely clued in about the media landscape right now. And we're not just sticking to the global averages. We're going to look at the key differences North America, EMEA, and APAC, because let's face it, what works great in London might totally bomb in Shanghai, right?
Exactly. And APAC is particularly interesting this year. 65% of the respondents there were actually from China, so that heavily shapes the regional view.
Good point. So by the end of this, you'll hopefully have a much better grip on how to build those stronger relationships and connect with the stories that really count. Okay, let's unpack this. First up, the big picture. What's really stressing journalists out in 2025? What are the major roadblocks they're facing?
Well, what's really fascinating, I think, is seeing how the top challenges are shifting. It shows just how fragmented things have become. So for 2025, the number one worry globally, 42% of journalists said this is adapting to changing audience behaviors around media consumption.
Ah, okay. So how people are actually getting their news.
Precisely. And that actually swapped places with last year's top concern, which was maintaining credibility and fighting off accusations of fake news. That's still huge, mind you, at 40%.
But the shift itself is significant.
It really is. It suggests journalists are now maybe less focused solely on defending what they publish and more actively trying to figure out how to reach people in this, scattered digital environment. The battleground's moved.
That makes a lot of sense. It's more about the ecosystem now. And speaking of shifts, AI seems to have really exploded onto the scene this year as a major challenge.
Oh, absolutely. It's rocketed up the list. AI is now sitting in fourth place. 30% of journalists globally see it as a major challenge.
Wow, fourth. Where was it last year?
It was sixth, so quite a leap.
Yeah.
And if we look deeper, there are these really interesting regional splits again. So in EMEA and North America, it's still mostly about those changing audience habits we talked about. But for journalists in APAC, their chief concern is the disruption from AI.
Really? AI is number one for them.
Yeah.
Why the big difference, do you think? And the report also mentions APAC journalists struggle more with just verifying info and finding credible sources.
Yeah, it likely comes down to how quickly digital transformation hit many parts of APAC. The information environment there became incredibly fast-paced, really fragmented, almost overnight in some places. So AI's potential to disrupt feels much more immediate, and that sheer speed and volume of information just makes verifying everything a much bigger challenge compared to maybe North America or EMEA. It's like a perfect storm.
Okay, so it's audience habits, AI disruption, verification issues. But the old pressures haven't gone away either, right? Things like falling ad revenue, staff cuts.
Not at all. They're still very much in the mix. Declining revenues are a worry for 33%, lack of staffing for 29%, and yeah, competing with social media influencers is cited by 28%.
It sounds like they're fighting battles on multiple fronts.
They really are. And this is exactly where PR professionals can actually be genuinely helpful. The report spells it out. We can help by just being mindful of deadlines, responding quickly, being transparent, and crucially, providing solid, verified data and research. Help them fight that misinformation burden.
So become a trusted partner, essentially, not just another pitch in the inbox.
That's the goal, because as you said, those inboxes are overflowing.
Right. The report says half of journalists get over 50 pitches a week. How on earth do you stand out in that? What actually works? And maybe more importantly, what gets you instantly deleted or blocked?
One word comes through loud and clear from pretty much everyone surveyed. Relevance.
Relevance.
Lack of relevance is the absolute top reason pitches get rejected. We're talking 86% of journalists citing this.
86%.
Yeah. And some are so fed up, they'll just block people who keep sending irrelevant stuff. It sounds harsh, but if you're not relevant, you're just contributing to the noise problem.
So laser focus is key.
Yeah.
What about the actual stuff you send them then? Beyond just being relevant, what kind of content do they find most useful? Is the old press release dead?
Not quite. Surprisingly, maybe, news announcements and press releases are still the most useful thing globally for 72% of journalists.
72. Wow. Still going strong.
Yep. But right behind that are story exclusives at 57% and original research reports at 55%. People want unique angles and solid data.
Okay.
And here's a key regional insight. For APAC journalists, that original research is even more important. It actually outweighs everything else for them. 64% preferred it. They're really hungry for that deep, credible data.
That's a really useful tip for anyone working with that region. So data and exclusives. What about the support PR pros offer? What do they value beyond the pitch itself?
Well, number one is connecting them with relevant sources. 63% value that highly.
Makes sense. Saves them time.
Exactly. Then it's helping them get access to key people, maybe specific locations. That's 57%. And then providing genuinely relevant story ideas, not just press releases. That's 43%.
And exclusives again.
Yeah, access to exclusive news or content sits at 39% globally. But get this, in APAC, it jumps to 50%.
50%?
Yeah. So again, for APAC, that unique first look angle is just paramount. They really value getting the scoop and the access.
Okay, so we know what they like. Relevance, research, exclusives, access. Now, the flip side. What are the absolute deal breakers?
Yeah.
What lands you on that dreaded don't call list?
Number one, globally, no surprise. Spamming me with irrelevant pitches. 78% said that.
Right. Though you mentioned APAC is a bit more forgiving there.
They are, interestingly, much more so than North America or EMEA, but still, it's the top complaint overall.
What else?
Next up, pitches that sound like marketing brochures. 59% hate that. And
Fine.
providing inaccurate or unsourced information, 56%, which, given their fight against misinformation, is totally understandable.
Absolutely. Anything else?
Yeah, minor irritants, but still significant. Following up repeatedly, that annoys 52%, and dodging inquiries or just lack of transparency gets 40% seeing red. Basically, don't waste their time or betray their trust.
It really comes down to respect, doesn't it? Respecting their time and their intelligence.
Precisely.
So let's say you want to build that respectful relationship. You're approaching a journalist for the first time. What's the best way in? Do you cold call, slide into DMs, send a carrier pigeon?
Maybe skip the pigeon. Actually, the answer is surprisingly straightforward. An overwhelming 85% globally say the best way is to simply introduce yourself over email and tell me why you want to connect.
Just email. That's simple.
Yep. Clear, direct, respectful communication. No need for fancy tricks. Pitching a new relevant story idea is also good, 38%. Or inviting them to an industry event, 33%. But that basic introductory email wins out.
But surely there are regional nuances here, too. It can't just be email everywhere.
You're right, there are differences. While email is king globally, in APAC, picking up the phone, 28%, or getting an intro from a mutual connection, 25%, can actually be quite effective too.
Okay.
Whereas in North America and EMEA, if you're not doing that initial email intro, LinkedIn is probably your next best bet for outreach. About 28% in NA and 26% in EMEA are open to that.
So knowing your region matters even for that first hello.
Absolutely. One size definitely does not fit all in global media relations.
It really hammers home that in PR, the relational part. Okay, so we've covered the relationship. Let's get into the nitty-gritty, the nuts and bolts of the pitch itself. How should you actually send it? How long? What about visuals? And then let's talk social media and AI.
Right, logistics. Channel-wise, as we said, email dominates. 96% globally prefer it.
Almost everyone.
Pretty much. Though, again, APAC is a bit different. WhatsApp messages and social media DMs are significantly more popular there. 79% prefer email, but those other channels have traction.
Good to know. And length. How long should that email pitch be?
Keep it brief. The sweet spot seems to be between 100 and 300 words. About 28% said 100, 200 words. Another 17% said 200, 300.
So definitely not an essay. Get to the point.
Exactly. Short, sweet, relevant.
Okay, pitch sent. Now the dreaded follow-up. How many times is acceptable before you become that annoying PR person?
Tread very carefully here. Most journalists, 62% prefer you follow up just once.
Just once.
And almost a third, 30%, actually prefer never.
Ouch. Never.
Yeah. So less is definitely more for most. However, here's that regional difference again. APAC journalists are notably much more in favor of multiple follow-up emails. Around 24% are okay with that, which is way higher than elsewhere.
Okay, another key APAC distinction, so be super cautious with follow-ups, unless you're targeting APAC specifically. What about adding visuals to that short, sweet pitch? Does multimedia actually help?
It can, yeah. 20% of journalists said they're flat out more likely to pursue a pitch that includes multimedia. Another 36% said it depends on the type. So it can definitely move the needle for many.
And what kind of multimedia works best?
Images, hands down. Images outrank all other assets everywhere. 70% globally find them useful.
Okay, so always include a good image if possible.
Good starting point, yes. But again, nuances. Data visualizations are highly valued in APAC, 52%, and also quite strong in EMEA, 30%. Videos are also more important in APAC, 37%.
So images are universal, but think about data viz, or video, depending on where you're pitching.
Got it. Moving beyond the pitch itself, how are journalists using social media these days? It feels like they're everywhere.
They pretty much are. 96% use social media for work. The main reasons: to publish or promote their own work, 64%, interact with my audience, 55%, and crowdsource information for stories, 51%. It's a core part of their workflow.
And where are they spending their time? Which platforms?
LinkedIn is #1 globally, used by 59%. Facebook is still up there at 53%, and Instagram at 51%.
Any surprises or emerging platforms we should be aware of?
Yeah, a couple interesting ones. Bluesky, which is still relatively new, is quickly becoming a new favorite. 18% globally are using it, but that jumps significantly in North America to 27%.
Bluesky, okay. Keep an eye on that one.
Definitely. And WhatsApp is used way more professionally in EMEA, 38%, and APAC, 49%, than in North America. And of course, if you're looking at China, it's a whole different ballgame. WeChat, 85%, Little Red Book, 64%, and Weibo, 58% are the big ones. That platform diversity is huge.
Yes.
So for you listening, what's the practical advice here? How can you use social media effectively?
Well, first, use it for research. Seriously, dig into a journalist's profile, see what they cover, what they tweet about, their interests. It helps tailor your approach.
Makes sense.
Second, don't just pitch on social. Show your value. Offer relevant resources. Share useful data related to their beat. Build that relationship.
Be helpful, not just demanding.
Exactly. And finally, maybe explore some less obvious platforms. Like, only 9% of journalists use Reddit professionally, but it's this amazing window into what audiences are actually talking about. You might find untapped story angles there.
Great tips. Okay, this brings us neatly back to AI. We know it's a growing challenge for journalists, but how are they actually using it themselves?
Well, adoption is definitely on the rise. There's been a notable uptick. Now, 53% of journalists say they use generative AI tools.
Over half. Wow.
Yeah, and another 14% plan to start soon. So we're looking at, what, 2/3 potentially using it in the near future?
And what are they using it for mainly?
Mostly for efficiency tasks, it seems. Things like researching certain topics, 25%, helping transcribe interviews, 23%, summarizing text, 20%, and sometimes even creating outlines or early drafts of content, 18%.
So helping with the grunt work, essentially.
Largely, yes. Though that drafting part is interesting, but again, big regional differences in how they use it.
Let me guess. North America is more hesitant.
You got it. North American journalists are most resistant to AI. Almost half, 49%, either don't use it or have no plans to.
And APAC.
They've embraced it more than anywhere else. Only 11% there aren't using it or planning to, and they're the ones most likely to use it for those outlines or early content drafts. 41% do that.
That's a huge difference in approach. So given these varying levels of adoption and use, how do they feel about us PR pros using AI to craft pitches or press releases? Are they okay with it?
It's actually surprisingly mixed, leaning towards openness for many. Only 27% globally are strongly opposed.
Only 27%. I might have expected higher.
Me too, maybe. A lot are kind of on the fence, 29% somewhat opposed, 16% somewhat in favor. They seem willing to consider well-crafted AI-assisted pitches.
But I bet there are caveats.
Yeah.
And probably regional differences again.
Absolutely. North American journalists, reflecting their general skepticism, show significantly higher concerns overall. About 2 in 5 there are strongly opposed, and the biggest concern across all regions by a mile.
Let me guess. Accuracy.
Bingo. Potential factual errors in AI content. 72% cited that. It goes right back to their core struggle with credibility and misinformation.
Makes total sense. What else worries them about PR using AI?
They're worried that the quantity of pitches will increase, but not the quality, 58%, and that the content will just lack authenticity or creativity, 54%, sound robotic or generic.
Yeah, losing the human touch.
Exactly. And North American journalists, again, had higher levels of concern about things like copyright and potential bias in AI content, too.
The report even quotes a journalist saying AI can be mind-bogglingly inaccurate. Right.
Yeah.
That really drives home the need for oversight.
It does. It highlights that you just cannot rely on it blindly. Human verification is absolutely critical. It's not just about sounding human, it's about being correct. Trust is paramount.
So, For us in PR, thinking about using these tools, what are the key guardrails? How do we experiment responsibly?
The report implicitly gives us 3 key takeaways, I think.
Yeah.
1, prioritize authenticity. Make sure your brand's unique voice, your unique angle isn't lost. Don't let AI make you sound generic.
Keep it human.
2, never, ever take AI output at face value. Fact check everything, verify, 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 because you can bet the journalist will. Accuracy is non-negotiable.
Right.
And 3, take a cue from the journalists themselves. Experiment. Use AI to help with research, maybe brainstorming, finding efficiencies, but always, always bring your human expertise and judgment to validate and refine the final output.
Use it as a co-pilot, not the pilot.
Perfect analogy. It's a tool, a powerful one, but it's not a replacement for critical thinking and ethical communication.
Wow, okay. We have covered a lot of ground here, from the
Mhm.
shifting sands of journalist challenges.
To the secrets of a pitch that actually lands and how to build real relationships.
Through the maze of social media platforms.
And into the complex, evolving frontier of AI in media relations.
It feels like the biggest thread connecting all of this, the major takeaway, is really doubling down on that relational aspect of public relations, isn't it?
Absolutely. The report hammers this home again and again. Every interaction with a journalist is an opportunity to build a mutually beneficial working relationship. It's about trust, understanding, and long-term partnership, not just quick wins.
So for you listening, really absorbing these insights of regional differences, the changing priorities, that careful balance between tech and the human touch, that's how you navigate this landscape effectively.
Yeah, it's how you build those stronger connections, earn trust, and ultimately get more meaningful coverage for the stories that genuinely matter. You become a resource, not just another email.
So here's a final thought to chew on as we wrap up. In this age of blinding speed and ever smarter AI, what's truly going to define impactful media relations going forward? Will it be the most advanced tech? Or will it be a renewed focus on that fundamental human connection, on deep trust, and on meticulously researched relevance? Where will you place your bets in your own approach?